Hey everyone, welcome to My Capital Life. My name is Naomi, and I share my life as a black Jewish woman living in the nation's capital. Um, this past weekend was Yom Kippur, and I delivered the D'var Torah for my congregation, and I wanted to share it with you. So the next clip is what you'll see. Now, let me say thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all again really, really soon. Bye.
One of the many traditions that I loved when I first came to Hill Chavara, and I still love now, something that I think is really special about our community, is that we always have a unique speaker, someone that has not spoken for us on the high holidays before. It used to be a guest speaker, and now it's always a member of our congregation speak and give the D'var Torah on Yom Kippur morning. This morning, I am honored and grateful to be inviting up Crystal Sebron. Crystal is a native Washingtonian. She grew up in Adams Morgan. She earned her bachelor's degree in elementary education from the University of the District of Columbia, where she now works as an assistant space and reservation coordinator. She serves on the ritual committee of Hill Chavara. She is a mother of 4 and a grandmother of 2. She is a doll collector of fashion dolls and Barbies with a YouTube channel dedicated to toys, and she has attended the last 2 Barbie conventions and already has her tickets for the next one. So Crystal, come on up, and I'm going to try and give you this microphone. Let's clip this on you. Marissa did something with her microphone. All right, are we live? Are we audible? Test it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Hello, everyone. My journey to who I am, to Judaism, took most of my life, but it intensified in the last 5 to 6 years. My Beit Din and Mikveh were in November of 2023. I connected with Hill Chavara and Temple Shalom a year before that. I was preparing to live my Jewish life. Then October 7th happened. Like many others, I was shocked as the news, videos, and pictures flooded. After the initial shock wore off, people started choosing sides loudly. I continued my process. The thought of not moving forward never occurred to me. In my mind, I was simply returning to who I was. So on November 14th, 2023, I went before the Beit Din and was immersed in the mikveh. At times, people have asked me why this decision was so obvious to me, why it felt so core to who I am, or why it didn't even feel like a decision at all, so much as a reality of who I am. To be clear, I would rather that people not refer to me as a Jew by choice. I am a Jew. I don't believe it was a choice. I believe I was meant to be Jewish. I just took the long route. One key reason I know I was meant to be Jewish, and I'm so proud to be, is that of honesty and truth. Throughout my Judaism 101 class, I noticed that no one had all the answers. Everyone had opinions, but nothing seemed to be, do it this way or you're going to hell. We read the opinions of past rabbis. We talked about how we currently interpret the scriptures. Then we discussed how even if you didn't believe any of it, that doesn't make you any less Jewish. It was so refreshing and a little confusing, but it felt right. Another key piece for me is that of rituals and the importance of the mundane. There seems to be a ritual or a prayer for almost everything. It gives meaning to life. I love learning about different prayers and ceremonies for your home, seeing or doing things for the first time, or even washing your hands. Finally, I was and continue to be moved by the value of community and being set apart. The importance of community stood out to me. As I researched and learned, some converts moved to new cities or states to be in the communities, and how close-knit these communities are, it drew me in. I was not at a point where I could move my family, but I loved the idea of it. Also, I love that Judaism has all these awesome set-apart times and holidays. My favorite is Sukkot. I can't wait until I own a home with a backyard to build a sukkah. Sometimes people have asked me if I've had fears that becoming a Jew will require taking on the burden of anti-Semitism. Honestly, though, I didn't have any fears about anti-Semitism. I've lived with racism all my life, so another reason for someone to hate me wasn't a big deal. Also because of the perception in America of what a Jew looks like. No one would ever just point me out as being Jewish. With that being said, I wear my Magan David daily. It shows my pride in being Jewish. It's important to me. It's an outward symbol of an inward commitment. My main concern was being the only Black person and not being accepted or welcomed. As it happened, my Judaism one-on-one class was very welcoming. I've made lifelong friends. With that being said, the communities of the synagogue where my classes were held were not as welcoming to me at first. My experience at Hill Havarah has been 96% welcoming. There have been a couple of instances that have been uncomfortable. I had even more of these uncomfortable experiences when going to Jewish events or spaces outside of Hill Havarah. One time I took Sky, my daughter, to the Capitol Jewish Museum for a summer party family day. They had different craft tables to make buttons, pictures, mezuzahs. Sky and I went to the table to make mezuzahs, and the lady there stopped us. Then she started going into great detail about what a mezuzah was and the purpose. She assumed we didn't know. I politely stopped her and said, "We know. We have one on the doors of our home." She walked away. It's not always words. Sometimes we get looks and stares and feel unwelcome. In the Haftarah portion, Isaiah 58, 3-8, we ask God, "Why, when we fast, did you not see? When we starved our bodies, did you pay no heed?" And then Isaiah imagines God replying with the following: "Because on your fast day, you see to your business and oppress all laborers. No, this is the fast I desire, to unlock the feathers of wickedness and untie the cords of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke." Racism is a yoke that has had a terrible hold on us. Based on some of my experiences, it's had a hold on the Jewish community as well. However, if we decide to move closer to fulfilling the instructions of the Torah, our community can break that yoke. Sometimes breaking the yoke looks like us having a conversation around the issue. Sometimes it looks like not making assumptions about someone just because they look different from you or because you have never met a Black Jew. After today, no one in this room can say that. It also should look like not allowing your friends, family, or associates to make the same assumptions. Together as a Jewish community, we are capable of realizing Isaiah's words. After emerging from the mikveh, I began to live my Jewish life in public. I updated my social media and shared. I started to notice more and more opinions from associates and relatives that I previously not known. I felt the pain of anti-Semitic words and posts from a family member who I thought was close to me. I thought, doesn't she know I'm Jewish? I also saw more and more concern and fear of anti-Semitism from my children and my partner. My daughter did not want me to listen to the news so much. My son started doing the conversation with me every time I left the house. Let me explain for those who don't know what the conversation is about. As a Black mother, the moment we have a son, the worry begins. The world is not always safe for Black boys and men. We protect our boys as much as possible. I started having the conversation with my son at a very early age. My son has always been the tallest. He's 21 years old and is now 6'5". As a child, I had to guide him by counseling him on how he acted in public, where he went, and how to make people know that he was only a child. The worry of him going outside and not coming home simply because he was a tall Black male is still consistent and honest. It's a constant conversation about who, what, when, where. Remember to always smile so they know you're harmless. This conversation has been and still is my life experience being his mother. It is just something I've learned to live with. Now I see those same concerns in the faces of my children. They have my location at all times. When I'm coming to service, I'm asked to text when I arrive, leave, and get home. If I don't check in, my daughter will scold me. Are all Jewish homes going through some form of this now as anti-Semitism is growing around us? Are you having the conversation in your home before you let your loved ones leave? As we see on TV and go through social media, the increase of anti-Semitism, does it change where you go or where you want your children to go? If so, how does it make you feel? Are you feeling more empathetic towards the plight and day-to-day lives of marginalized, or as Isaiah would put it, oppressed people? If you never had to have the conversation with your children or family before, what feelings is it bringing up? Do you feel guilty because you never had to deal with this form of oppression? Maybe you recognize you've been privileged in that way. Whatever feelings or thoughts come up, sit with them, think over them, and question yourself. Then possibly make atonement if needed. There's so much happening in the world against Jewish people. We might be tempted to just focus on that. Just focusing on the anti-Semitism, the war, and the hostages would be natural. However, according to Isaiah, fasting in strife and contention does not make our voices heard on high. When we focus only on the horrors around us and not on our need for teshuvah within us, I think that's a form of fasting in strife and contention. our voices as a collective need to be heard on high. We need to focus inward. So let us truly be introspective. Ask ourselves the hard questions. Atone for where we have fallen short. Forgive ourselves and start anew. We have the opportunity to have our collective voices heard this Yom Kippur and every day of this new year. That is amazing. I am so proud to be Jewish and be a part of the collective voices that will be heard on high. I believe if we all do our best to follow the words of the Torah, engaging in mitzvot, and even the words of Isaiah, helping all of us be free, this year will be a better year than last. As we reflect on what we can do this new year to fulfill Isaiah's vision, let us listen to his words chanted. I'd like to invite up Eric and Marie Kate Rubin to introduce the Haftorah reading, as well as Josh Saltzman, who will be chanting the Haftorah this morning.
Yasher Koach. That's so powerful.